'Tis the season for managerial sackings, it seems, as Dean Smith is the latest in a growing list of managers dismissed by their clubs. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. We are talking about the big breaking news today coming from Aston Villa that they have sacked their manager Dean Smith following a run of 5 defeats on the bounce. It seems poor form and a heavy weight of expectation. It seems to all be a combination of things that have resulted in Dean Smith getting the sack today, parting ways with Aston Villa, a club that he's been with for just over 3 years now. We're going to be talking all about this breaking news story and everything to go along with that. But before we do, I would like to remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated, of course. But for now, let's get into talking about this big breaking news story that Aston Villa have parted ways with manager Dean Smith. Villa confirmed the news of parting ways with Dean Smith and they posted it on Twitter as well. They posted it, making it official. They stated, Aston Villa Football Club can confirm that the club have parted company with head coach Dean Smith. What followed was a statement in which they reflected and looked back on Smith's time with the club and the reason why they dismissed him, which ultimately came down to not following up on the progression of previous seasons gone by within the league this season. And obviously that all came about following what has been a very tricky and difficult yet poor start to the new campaign. Smith took charge of Aston Villa back in 2018, partway through the 2018-19 season, when Aston Villa were a championship side and were currently at the time performing at a very mediocre level. But within that first season though, Smith managed to guide Villa back to the Premier League at the first time of asking back into England's top tier division, which many people will say that is where Villa belong. Big club like Villa needing and wanting to be in that top flight. He managed to keep Villa's head above water in their first season back in the Premier League by just the skin of their teeth. If you remember correctly, a very fortunate ghost goal wasn't given against them against Sheffield United in a game, the first game back, I think, after Project Restart. It wasn't picked up by goal line technology and ultimately went on to be the difference maker in the Premier League that campaign for the relegation battle, as they maintained their Premier League status by a point at the expense of Bournemouth. But also during that same season, Villa managed to get themselves into the Carabao Cup final. They managed to get themselves into the Carabao Cup final, where they were ultimately defeated by Manchester City. And then last season, of course, they continued to show progression. Villa went to finish a 11th place finish in the Premier League with 55 points. They showed great improvement that season, great recruitment. The likes of Emi Martinez in particular was seen as being a great piece of business by Villa that they conducted during that season to help them obviously progress and elevate their level to a mid-table Premier League side. And from there, building and continuing to build and getting stepping stones to where they wanted to be continued to shine through. They continued to build, and obviously the ultimate goal was for Villa to get back into the conversation of European football again, and they were showing signs that that would be the case. Even in the transfer window this past summer, they showed signs. As much as it would have hurt that they lost their talisman Jack Grealish for 100 million to Manchester City, they did manage to spend a lot of money themselves in trying to obviously soften that bit of a blow. The likes of Danny Ings, Leon Bailey and Emi Buendia all came in the summer for big money. And it was a season that at the beginning started with a lot of promise and a lot of excitement by the Villa fans that something big was going to happen this season with all the transfer activity, the progression of the previous season, all of that combined for a lot of excitement, a lot of promise. But so far, it's failed to deliver. The goal this season seems to be European football. It's a step right now that seems a little bit out of Villa's reach. But we're still in the very early days on in the season. Things can still turn around. It depends on, obviously, their transfer business in January and, of course, what manager they bring in the meantime. So anything is still possible. But seemingly with With failure to see continuous improvement, especially during the early stages of the season, it seemed fit that they've obviously gone about their business, Villa, and have ultimately parted ways with their current manager. Like I say, the spending spree didn't help. The spending spree brings in increased pressure, and especially in the modern day game, managers with that increased pressure, a squad like that, and everything that goes along with that, the expectation of the fans, the neutral fans, pundits, everything that combines doesn't help managers at all, and ultimately that's how it's proven to be. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United, that's another story, and that's kind of funny in its own way, but that seems to be an exception to this. Dean Smith, unfortunately for him, wasn't an exception, and that's why it ultimately has cost his job. It doesn't help that, of course, funding-wise, he was given them. He was obviously given the funds to replace the likes of Grealish and obviously continue to try and build the progression and development of this squad. It just ultimately didn't work out for him, and the club have seemingly acted very quickly on this, pulling the trigger on parting ways with him and looking towards the future of this club and trying to save their season, so to speak. Their current bad run of form speaks for itself, though. Aston Villa are currently on a 5 Premier League game losing streak, I guess you'd call it. They're currently in 15th with 3 wins, 1 draw and 7 defeats from their opening 11 games, meaning they've accumulated 10 points, 2 points clear of the drop zone, but 6 and 7 points away from European football places. Many have claimed that this move does show ambition from Villa. Many people have claimed that it's easy to see why the lack of progression and everything that goes along with that have left Villa with no choice but to sack Smith in this situation. And maybe for the board themselves, maybe they've seen things go a little bit stale recently. Maybe they've seen that despite a revamped and changed squad, maybe the best course of action would be to bring in someone else with new ideas and new thoughts, new philosophy, and a new direction to go in to take them up to that next level to where they want to be. Clearly the expectation, seemingly for right now at least, wasn't working for Dean Smith, and he was cracking under it a little bit, it seems. But maybe that's just the thought process from the outside looking in as the direction that Villa wanted to go. It's hard to disagree with that. Show more ambition and obviously save their season is one way to go about it. I guess you'd say that this shows more ambition than some clubs with managers that are underperforming right now, who are seemingly somehow still managing to cling on to that job, without mentioning any names, of course. Whoever is now tasked with succeeding Smith, though, will have a big task on their hands, as they have some huge games on the horizon. Brighton, Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Leeds are all to come between now and the end of the year for Villa. So interesting times do lie ahead. But for whoever does come into this squad, takes over this team, they are left with somewhat exciting and interesting group of players. Most coachable and certainly can be developed into hitting new levels and raising their game, so to speak. Villa tend to also spend some money in transfer windows, so that could attract some good managers as well. It's certainly an interesting project for someone to really stick their teeth into, and one that would definitely be something to consider taking up in the immediate future for whoever obviously Villa decide to approach. On that, Sky Bet have actually drawn up a few names as favourites at the time of recording, of course. Rangers manager Steven Gerrard is ahead of that list. It'd be interesting to see if he does just jump ship, so to speak. I doubt he will, but it's interesting to consider nonetheless. John Terry maybe making the step up from assistant manager to regular first team manager. He, of course, was Smith's assistant manager during his time with Villa, so it'll be interesting to see if he steps up. Paulo Fonseca's name has been mentioned. Of course, you already knew Fonseca's name was mentioned. He's mentioned in every job in which the manager's been getting the sack, so you didn't really need me to explain that his name was mentioned. Frank Lampard is also up there since his time at Chelsea. He's been out of the game, so it'll be interesting to see if they do approach him. And, well, maybe they might keep John Terry's assistant manager and maybe go for a Frank Lampard manager, John Terry assistant manager thing. Who knows? And so too is Graham Potter. We've got to mention Graham Potter. He's allegedly in the running as well. But again, like Gerrard, I doubt he would jump ship right now from Brighton. So again, many names to throw into that ring. Interesting times do lie ahead for Villa. It just depends on which direction they decide to go from here. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the big breaking news story that Dean Smith has been sacked as Aston Villa manager? Who would you like to see replace him at Villa Park? I'm sure all of your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions on this particular topic will make for interesting reading down in the comment section below. I look forward to reading them. Otherwise, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and fun would be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video.